Welcome, everyone, to the second in our series of webinars to save the world. It's a grand series title, but it is what describes our mission with these webinars. Our industry makes direct impact to people's lives 24/7. And in order for our industry to keep doing its best, it is vital that our logistics community, working and studying, are updated on the latest knowledge and technology. Logistics is the driver for prosperity around the world. The Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Singapore, which I refer to as CILT Singapore, is well aware of this. Since its founding in Singapore in 1971, the members of CILT Singapore have been working to educate logistics professionals as well as young talent. We do this via our certificate programs, as well as online webinars. After the speakers have shared, I will be providing more information for you about CILT Singapore. This webinar series is very much about enhancing the industry's knowledge on how to address and solve our society's most important challenge, that of climate change. In this series, we concentrate on our industry and its activities specifically. Previously, our webinar centered on the creation of the green infrastructure here for Singapore. Today, we will talk about logistics facilities. 3 more webinars will follow over the coming months to address final mile delivery and fleet management, air logistics, and finally, ocean logistics. As everyone is aware, most products found on our store or delivered to your door likely came from a distribution center somewhere in the world. On top of that, they likely came via transport hubs, where large shipments are redirected into consolidations. These standing facilities all use energy, and indeed used a lot of energy in some instances in their own construction. According to a group at Princeton University, concrete manufacturing itself globally accounts for 8% of all carbon emissions. Now, logistics facilities are a very small fraction of that number, but the running of the facilities will additionally account for more emissions in order that temperature is maintained to keep products fresh, as well as keeping spaces lit for safety and accurate order picking and loading, just to name a few. Today, we'll be discussing ways to minimize these emissions at the building stage, as well as during the running of the facility itself. Now, a bit of housekeeping. Please keep your mics and cameras to off. This will allow for clearer streaming during the event. Please place your questions in the chat area. You will see it at the bottom of the screen there. After the speakers have had a chance to present, we will go to questions, as well as your own, and allow the speakers to answer as best they can. Our speakers who have volunteered their time and efforts today are Mr. Chong Yao Meng of DB Schenker, Ms. Chen Tan of Sembcorp, Mr. Ko Si Kiat of Sagacity Consulting. And finally, I am Tim Foote, founder of Symbio, a boutique consulting firm that helps businesses plan and execute green logistics for themselves and their customers. I combine my logistics knowledge of over 2 decades with my years of experience as head of Go Green at DHL e-commerce. My mission is to provide direction and leadership for those companies eager to succeed in their net zero journey. Now let's start with a presentation from Yao Meng. Chong Yao Meng is head of HSSE, Trade Compliance and Privacy at DB Schenker. In his current role, Yao Meng is responsible for development, coordination, and implementation of control measures and solutions with the aim to minimize operative risks, improve compliance, and most importantly, drive sustainability. Hello, Yao Meng. Can you tell us some about the RED facility here in Singapore?
Hi, Tim. Can you hear me? Can everyone
Yes,
hear me?
can.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Let me quickly share my screen. Can everyone see my screen and hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sure can.
Okay, good. Yeah. Very good morning to the members of Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Singapore, fellow logistics professionals, educators, and students. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank the organizing committee of CILTS for inviting me to share our company's experience in our green journey, green building journey. Okay, without further ado, let me quickly go to my slides. Yes, let me start by introducing our company, DB Schenker. We are a German logistics service provider with global presence in more than 130 countries, and we have established deep-rooted logistics operations for 51 years in Singapore. Yeah, and we are, as a service providers for logistics, our operations cover different aspects of supply chain in supporting our customers for all vertical markets, be it in the chemical, the healthcare, high tech, fashion, automobile, so on and so forth, and as well as aerospace as well. So we support many vertical markets where Schenker could contribute to our customers' sustainability journey. We are a logistics service provider. We are part of the supply chain, and sustainability efforts starts from the beginning of the supply chain and until the end of the last mile delivery. Yeah, and we also want to be the sustainability leader under our DB Schenker Primus 2025 vision. This is a top-down management goal to be to achieve sustainability leadership as one of our 6 core ambitions. And why do we want to be a sustainability leader? Okay, this is because increasing expectations from stakeholders in terms of increasing sustainability consciousness, growing customers' expectations, and many more. There are also increased business risks in associating with non-compliance to environmental laws, the need to mitigate risks, so as not to lose any licenses to operate as a logistics service provider, be it locally or internationally. DB Schenker, as a global organization, we have a big responsibility towards saving the environment, as well as contributing our efforts towards sustainability. Yeah, sustainability is about creating a good life for all within planetary boundaries. Okay, we think about sustainability holistically. We benchmark our progress to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, okay, in short SDG, which are a global framework for driving coordinated sustainable action until 2030 and beyond. So if you can see from here on the right side, these are the UN SDG, the 17 of them that Schenker is globally as well as locally are working towards achieving the various goals. Yeah. Without further ado, let me quickly go to our latest green building, codename Red Lion. This is our latest building constructed by Schenker Singapore in support of green logistics. Yeah. This building is located at the free trade zone in the far eastern part of Singapore, airport logistics part of Singapore. So this area is a free trade zone, and in Schenker has a very big footprint over here to support all the logistics operations, and we are only a couple of minutes to the cargo terminus. Okay. Yeah. In our green building itself, we have our objective, of course, is to save energy. Of course, ultimately, saving of energy also means saving, sorry, in terms of dollar and cents. With the introduction of solar panels, we are able to achieve a saving of about 35% in terms of the energy utilization from the grid, okay, which is equivalent to about close to 1,000 flats. Okay, in terms of CO2 emissions, basically we are able to reduce more than 2,000 tons annually. As well as for water itself, yeah, I mean, we are able to save probably about 32% of the water consumption. If you look at the figure, it's not that big. Reason is because as a logistics service provider, it's different from a manufacturer where we do not use water as part of our manufacturing process. So yeah, so that's why the water consumption is pretty low for logistics service provider. And this building itself has 2 awards. LEED version 4, okay, is a building design and constructions gold certified. This is the first in Singapore and the largest warehouse in Southeast Asia to be certified under this standard. And we are also BCA Green Mark Platinum certified as well. In terms of ventilation systems, our system itself is running on a water-cooled chill water plant system where 100% of the recycled and non-potable waters are being reused. Okay, as such, we're able to save substantial amount of water. Okay, and of course through efficient air filtering systems, MERV 14, the second highest. In terms of solar panel, we have a footprint of about 1,440 solar photovoltaic panels spanning across 3,000 square meters of the roof space that we have, and the annual yield of 600 and close to 650,000 kilowatt hours. Okay, in terms of sustainable construction materials, okay, we are using post-tension slabs. Okay, that we as well as Singapore Green Mark Council approved concrete structure as part of the sustainability material that we are utilizing. Yeah. For lighting itself, we are using LED lights with motion sensors. Later I'll show a bit more. Water efficiency and landscaping. We are using cooling tower treatment systems that is able to achieve more than 7 cycles of concentration. In fact, it's between 7 to 10. Water efficient fittings used throughout the buildings. Extensive landscaping around the facilities, as well as replanting of trees and flora and fauna with a LAI of 3, which is the leaf area index. Okay. Yeah, due to time constraint, I will not go deep into the technical aspects of the ventilation systems. But in general, we are using what we call the variable speed drive control for chill water pumps. Cooling tower approach based on a wet bulb temperature. Building management systems is able to detect when the plant efficiency in terms of kilowatt RT deviates by more than 10%. And this aircon system serves the entire building, all the way from the warehouses, the storage area, the ancillary offices, as well as all the common areas. Okay, and the saving itself is significant. If you can see from the below here. Okay. Yeah, the energy savings to the use of solar panel is approximately 35%. Yeah. Okay. And LED systems is also used throughout the entire of the building. Okay, and with sensors to ensure that when there's no activities, the lights will be shut off. Okay. And our car park lighting is also using the dual circuitry control and all the motion sensors for all the toilets and staircases as well. In terms of sustainable constructions and material, I mentioned earlier, we're using the post-tension slabs, okay, which is a combination of conventional slabs, reinforcement, and additional protruding high-strength steel tenons, which is approved by the Singapore Green Building Council. Okay, in terms of water, of course, we are using all the water-saving features that and we install them in throughout the entire building. And private meters are also installed at various floors of the warehouse to monitor the water consumption. In terms of, just I mentioned, we are LEED certified as well. So basically, the building has undergone tremendous certifications requirements through these various criteria before we are able to achieve the gold standard. Okay. In terms of EV, electric vehicles, Schenker is also committed to go for 100% EV by 2030, and we are progressively upgrading our fleet with our partners to migrate from diesel electric from diesel to electric vans. In Singapore, we have more than 220 EV charging stations open for public, and we are able to tap onto this big infrastructure, and the government is increasing the number of the charging stations as well in Singapore to further encourage the use of EV. Yep. The last portion will be the recycling hub. Basically, what we do is that we collaborated with Singapore University of Technology and Design to adopt the 3D printing technology, which means that we are using plastic bottles to convert them into nice structure that is used in our pantry and our work area as well. So this is our recycling hub, or rather we call it the upcycling hub, to demonstrate a sustainable future for the logistics industry towards circularity while creating awareness among users and visitors.
Wow.
Yeah, this is to showcase the use of a 3D printing. Okay, what they'll do is they'll fit the plastic bottles into the machines, and the 3D printer will print the design that we want. This chandelier, one of these will using about 900 plastic bottles before we can create this chandelier. If not, these 900 bottles might go to the refill. Yeah, so we are converting our pantry using the 3D printing technology, as well as a cardboard. We're using the cardboard that we have in our warehouse operations, the packaging materials. Yeah, and to strengthen it with aluminum structure and to make it into tables as well. And the recycling of pallets with solid surface tabletop. Yeah.
Yeah, just that is awesome. I'll have to, wow, you're making your own furniture over there.
Yes. We are collaborating with the universities.
That is great. Wow. Thanks so much for that presentation, Hvac. That is amazing. Yep. Yeah, so next speaker we have today is Jen Tan. She is head of integrated solutions at Sembcorp Industries. She is responsible for growing the portfolio of offerings under Sembcorp's suite of sustainable solutions in Singapore, as well as in Southeast Asia. And these include integrating energy, water, waste, and digital solutions for companies that help customers meet their environmental sustainability targets. Prior to this role, Jen was responsible for several solar projects in Singapore and Southeast Asia, and so she has a great expanse of knowledge. Jen, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah. How can you share with us on how to go solar?
Sure. I will first share a little bit about what Sembcorp does, and then after that I can speak on how we can help the companies to go solar.
Okay.
Just give me a minute, okay? Okay, so My name is Jen Tan. I'm Head of Integrated Solutions in Singapore and Southeast Asia for Sembcorp. So Sembcorp, at a glance, we are actually operating in 11 countries. We are Temasek owned. Temasek is a government-linked corporation where they invest in all industries. So we also have about 5,000 employees. But in the solar department, we have about 150 engineers. Our market cap is about 3.6 billion. We are listed on the Singapore Stock Exchange. So our key business very different from Schenker, but we are hoping to be a partner of Schenker in their sustainability journey. So what we do is we actually do large scale or small scale solar. Moving forward, I think a lot of dependence will start on the energy storage system. So we already have capabilities in this area. We are also powering up a lot of businesses and homes and offices in Singapore. We've got a 1,300 megawatt plant in Jurong Island, and various other kinds of conventional energy. And we are also an integrated urban solutions provider, basically in Vietnam, in China, in Indonesia, and in some other countries. We do have a water business as well as waste and waste to resource. So what all this means is we hope to partner all the businesses that is attending this conference, a sustainability approach to your business. Excuse me. So looking at renewables, we currently have about 2.5, excuse me. We currently have a utility scale wind project, 784 megawatts of solar, and also a large energy storage system in UK. So our, like everybody is saying, we have to look at the climate change effect and impact. And, our business strategy has also shifted according to that. And moving forward, renewables is actually our target. As presented just now, we're around 3 gigawatts, but we are looking at moving towards 10 gigawatts. And the focus is really on organic growth, selective merger and acquisitions, as well as partnerships, and of course, capital recycling. So I think we would like to partner all industry partners to see how to provide clean energy for everyone in the world. Moving a little more micro into our portfolio. So this picture that you see here is a picture of our floating solar in Tengeh Reservoir. The size is 60 megawatt, 122,000 panels. It's a huge site, and it's pretty. And we have just completed construction back in June. We do have solar assets in India, in Vietnam, and in Singapore. In fact, in Singapore, we have close to 2,500 sites that is operational or under development. That is, it is a huge amount. So every time you travel and you see some solar panels on the rooftop, that could be Sembcorp's solar panels. And we actually are partnering a lot of logistics partners. And I'm proud to say that in Singapore, many warehouses are already filled with solar, and they are really using green electricity. We are currently contributing to 25% of Singapore's national target by 2025. Our core capabilities is really business development. What do we do in business development is not just come to our customers and say, hey, buy solar from me and I can sell you at a cheap price. I think what we do here is we try to partner our customers and provide a consultation or a different viewpoint on how you can achieve net zero by looking at your electricity consumption, your energy efficiency, looking at how you can procure renewable energy credits, how we can do rainwater harvesting, waste to recycling, and all that. So we would like to partner people like yourselves and anyone who is interested in the net zero journey journey together to to protect the climate. I think that's our main vision. Because only that way then we become sustainable. Otherwise, it's no different from selling a vacuum cleaner and the relationship just stops at after sale. I think that's not our vision. So in order to be a strong partner, we then built a very strong team on project development to ensure the safety and the reliability of the system for 25 years. We also have an asset management team that partners the customers for a long time, so that you will always you can sleep well at night without even worrying about us being on top of your roof. We provide digital and analytics. For this, what we do is we actually provide dashboards. I think the pain of a lot of companies today is their management is asking for, I want to be green here, I want to be green there, I want to show, I want to do climate change reporting, this and that. But a lot of facilities managers or even sustainability managers in the company struggle to get data in one place. So we noted this as a feedback from a lot of our customers. And right now we actually provide a dashboard to aggregate all the information together so that the facilities manager or sustainability manager can spend a lot less time just trying to churn out data for reporting or action items. So these are the 4 end-to-end areas that we focus a lot on. And as a result, we hope to be winning contracts, optimize the costs for the customer and for ourselves, and improve the green energy that we are able to provide. Okay, this is just one of the case study that I'm extremely proud of, because this is made in Singapore, and we did it in less than a year, and in full 100% circuit breaker COVID 1, COVID 2 red alert, or whatever you call it. We had all kinds of controls in place during the COVID situation, and we managed to build this huge 60 megawatt, one of the world's largest inland floating PV systems right here in Singapore. And it covers around 45 hectares, and we have 122,000 panels. I remember when we first started, we barely could make 1,000 panels per day because it was difficult, it was slopey, and the materials are bulky. But we managed to design a custom-built jig to increase the rate of assembly, and these workers then have it, they could increase the assembly from 1,000 panels per day up to 2,000 panels per day. So we completed construction for the entire site actually in 3 months. The rest of the time was really spent on studying the environment, the impact on the water, as well as permits and licensing. In this particular project, we also is the first in the world to deploy a drone that uses electroluminescence imaging technology. This is non-intrusive, so we fly the drone to actually check on the health of the panels. I think we are also deploying this for our logistics customers and our manufacturing clients, because end of the day, when we declare a certain amount of generation for the logistics company, like just now Schenker has mentioned, they have 1,440 watt peak panels, and they will have expected to deliver a certain reduction in their green energy. So if the developer is not ensuring that the system is able to perform, whatever you declare going green will be interrupted and reduced, and that will not be very nice for your stakeholders at a later stage. So we spend a lot of time to make sure that we do have operational excellence through innovative solutions, and so everybody is able to rest well at night without worrying about the system every day. So the drones are also used for maintenance checks, and that reduces the number of people that is intrusive into your buildings or onto your rooftops. And then on the bottom right picture, you can see a huge monitoring system. That's where we monitor the performance of the every single plant that we are operating. And we have it at our fingertips, and engineers and technicians get sent out almost immediately when we see any potential impact on the solar plant in terms of the performance of the system. So in a nutshell, I think we pride ourselves to be a very technically savvy company where we operate through excellence so that we deliver what we promise in a very sustainable way. That's all I have to share. If anyone in this call is interested to visit the plant that I'm extremely proud of, do drop me a message. I'm happy to you around our floating solar. Short of making it a tourist attraction, but that I need to go through a lot of that. So I'm happy to host personal visits. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. You can, yeah. So you could get a tour of that. Actually, it's visible. I suppose for folks just in that area anyway. It looks so big, right? I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, I think we can do a CILT visit, so you can get all your partners to. Yeah, I mean we have been hosting quite a number of visits. Nature partners. We have also got yesterday we hosted the entire Indonesian convoy. So I think when we talk about renewable energy, it's so near yet so far. People know what is it, but they don't really know what is it. So I'm happy to to provide the knowledge sharing, because the more people are on board, the happier I am and the more business I get.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that's great. Well, thanks so much for sharing, Jen Tan. That is an excellent project there, and you can see it's done so much. So glad Sembcorp is going to be part of that, getting at least, I would say at least, because I have confidence, Jen Tan, that you will have more than 25% of the power in Singapore done by solar by 2030, right? 2030 is the year, I believe, right? So I think you will have it even more than that. There's no reason why you can't. All right, so finally, we have SK Co, who is a consultant at Sagacity, a consulting company specializing in transformational projects. Some works include the delivery of a smart building and smart complex solution for a notable real estate investment trust. He also delivered for a public utility company, PUB, to detect surface threats to underground infrastructure, including LiDAR and AI-based video analytics. He's very much the specialist of everything construction and sustainable. So SK Co, could you please share your thoughts on how to reduce facility emissions and some of the things involved with that?
Thanks, Tim. Thanks. Okay. Now, the thing is that about consultants, a lot of people say they talk too much before they act. So I think this particular first slide, hope you can see, is that we know that we as humans have actually contributed to very significant climate change from all our activities the last 50 years of industrialization. All right. So I have got a very quick agenda for today. I've got a love affair of logistics and transportation over the years, and also as Jen has shared and Yao Ming has shared, there's a certain appreciation situation that we need to know. But at the same time, we also want to share a bit about what's obvious and what's not obvious. Okay, and why technology technology is not just in the IT, but also building engineering technologies. How are they impactful to logistics and facilities? And the last part is actually a call to action. All right. So very quickly, my love affair. I started Sagacity some 6 years back. Sagacity means wisdom. I hope I have some. So basically, I focus very much on operations technology, OpTech for short. Now, I started work with in the warehouse systems, looking at pallet jacks, hoisting pallets up the third floor store warehouse, doing stock takes, picking order, delivery, and so forth. I did some work with the conveyor belt systems at Changi, from mechanical electrical engineering to PLC controls. This was a major highlight of my career because I start to see the infusion of technology into global supply chains. This was with a semiconductor giant where we look at a 3PL. There was a very, very new idea of 3PL, looking at I2 technologies and Oracle into this whole entire deployment. Major 2-year requirement study, POCs across the globe, implementation and change management. That's quite a lot of work to be done. I think those in the industry will know how difficult is it to change people's mindset. And that's what we're trying to do here today. Then the Army Corps. I did some work with the Army, looking at 3rd generation Army transformation. One of the biggest problems that we face are things like energy and communications protocols across wired, wireless, add on the security. And that's one thing that we really identified, which is data, which is very essential for any critical decision making. And without data, we can't make that decision. Then I spent some time into the smart buildings as well as the green technologies, whereby I did some work with safe cities, smart cities here in Singapore and around the region, looking at buildings and how to use IoT, video analytics, and start counting people and occupancy, heat maps, and all these things, and how to make sure that the right technologies are actually implemented for smart and green buildings. One of the interesting things that I've done is actually in the AI and ML. If you look at it, I've got a fish here. This is actually using fish to be the first line of defense for our drinking water. This is implemented here. All right, it's island-wide. I think we are very, very safe to have this drinking water security being implemented for us, instead of a whole entire bunch of sensors looking at pH, temperature, whatever chemicals they can have in the body of water. So transportation, very deep in the heart of AI. So I spent some time doing a lot of technology scanning, looking at integration of projects regionally as well as in Singapore. So this is where I have myself, and I want to draw a very grim picture, from the research from Stockholm Resilience Center. The co-founder is Professor Johan Rockström. Since 2009, he started to map 9 boundaries of humanity that we must respect to keep this planet hospitable. As you can see, he started mapping out things like biosphere integrity. These are in the red zone, whereby it means it's high risk. Those in the yellow and amber zone of different colors is increasing. All these are due to our activities. All right, but of course, he still has a lot of areas that's in gray. He doesn't know how much microplastics that we have in the ocean that goes into our fishes that we consume on a daily or weekly basis. All right, he doesn't know a lot of other atmospheric loading. We talk about CFC for many years. I was very surprised that it was finally eradicated in US just months ago. Okay, so but I want to highlight these two numbers. 63 months. 63 months is all we have to keep it below 1.5. All right, Scotland, COP26 is happening in a couple of days. And I think let's hope and let's pray for good, conclusive, collaborative results from there. All right. And the other number is that 2 degrees. 2 degrees is the tipping point that I think future humanity is really, really at stake. So this is where I need to paint this grim picture. Now, what's not obvious? These 3 scopes are usually not discussed. This scope 1 is our direct emissions, what we have, our facilities, equipment. These are things that we can control, like what Yao Ming has controlled significantly, and also indirectly from Jen on Sembcorp. They are actually helping you to be very efficient in scope 2. All right. So this is scope 1 and scope 2, and scope 3 is really about you and me. A huge part of this really depends on our 3PL partners who looks at distribution, warehousing, waste management, and so on and so forth. What kind of vehicles that we use and what kind of assets do we use? Earlier, Yao Ming talked about lease assets, looking at his fleet of 200 plus EV vehicles that he's been using. this is where his contribution of scope 3. And because of what they have done, the lease assets are turning green as well. Right? These are significant steps which contributes to the net computation of how green an organization can be. Now, okay, this particular slide looks at very, very grim picture. This green part is actually scope 3. And you can realize across all industries, this is largely unregulated and unmanaged. Okay, the question is that, can we manage things? Can we manage this to be effective in our line of business? A line of business, building solar panels, implementing green solutions for customers so that they can be effective in managing energy, logistics, transportation, and so on and so forth. Now, a lot of this depends on data and our change of mindset. All right, we can really manage this. I shall not draw too much into this because it's just a whole bunch of data, but I would like to highlight what things has been done so far, like what Yao Ming has done. They look at green design from day one. All right, as you look at all these green emissions, a lot of construction CO2 emissions started from day one from the use of Portland cement. Right, so just for some statistics purposes, CO2 contribution by building industry from cement alone is between 8 to 10%. Okay, and the more high-rise buildings we have, the more this contribution will be. All right. Now, at the same time, we also want to look at how we can actually look at both your greenfield and your brownfield buildings that you're planning, and how you can influence architect to take directions from you, because you are the owner, you are the facility owner, you can decide what you want to change. You can specify your use of cement, you can look at double glazed mirrors, use of LED lights, sensors, etc. HVAC design is very, very critical because we are a hot country, as well as some countries we need heating. This itself is a very, very critical component to manage. Now, as we put more and more sensors into the building itself, we know we're going to have a huge exponential data growth. This data is not just about data. A lot of us use this data to number crunch. We need servers, we need GPUs for video analytics, and even for your AI computation. All this contributes to data. All this contribute to energy requirements. Usually this is not measured in any organization. The IT department does not measure that. The IT looks at the results, how nice a chart that they generate out for the general management. All right, that's not enough. Okay, but that's why we talk about things like hyperscale, cloud, things like the Azure, the Googles. Recently, they have actually started very interesting to provide you as a consumer carbon dioxide metering. They tell you based on your monthly usage, how much carbon dioxide you are actually generating. All right. Now, there's also things like fiber, things like this is actually very, very efficient, not just from the energy perspective, but also data transfer. But the good part is that it doesn't degrade like copper or Cat5, Cat6 degrades over 10 years. The data transmission is slower, and therefore we need to rip and replace. There are future technologies that's coming forward, things like Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6 and 5G. All these things will again looks at energy consumption and as well as how we can actually relay this data across. Now, I would like to share with you some very interesting statistics that I've gotten from a vendor. Somebody that I've been looking at them for quite a while. Quite a while is about last 2 months. They have started to look at use of copper, replacing copper with GPON or fiber. That they are actually looking at significant power reduction as well as space reduction, because a lot of space can be replaced. All your edge switches and those in the MDF switches can be replaced with fiber networks, because fiber travel a longer distance than copper. All right. So at the same time, with certain technologies such as white box, which has been championed by people like Facebook. They are actually looking at a significant reduction from CapEx, which also reduces your dependency on the major brands that you see in the IT industry. Because of the use of fiber, the efficiency of data transfer, you're looking at a very, very significant OpEx. This reduction of OpEx comes from network manageability. You can see the whole entire networks across different vendors, as well as from edge to the core switch before it hits out to the internet. That also means that your engineers need not drive 200 kilometers to go and fix a switch. They can manage a switch from where they are, all right? If there's a hardware replacement, just plug in and just change the MAC address, we are done. So there is no need for day-to-day troubleshooting type of efforts. So the man effort reduction is highly significant with this type of visibility of data and also visibility of networks. Okay, I will also share something which just now Yao Ming, Yao Ming mentioned.
Yeah,
sorry.
we go over the
Tim.
ductile. Yeah, we'll need to get to the questions and answers. Maybe just then, can you finish in 2 minutes?
Sure, we'll do that. So this is where Yao Ming mentions the reduction of his users MERV 14 filters, and therefore there is a significant cleanliness in his environment. The question is that can we reduce it further? Can we reduce this OpEx further? Short answer is yes. I think there are technologies out there that can actually help. All right, to reduce this MERV filters reduction. Therefore, airflow flows better, but you also have clean air and better air itself. Okay, here is my probably my last slide. This is a summary of what I just mentioned from possible technologies that you can actually use. Yao Ming spoke about the green and as well as the MERV filters. Some of this reduction can be done from an owner's perspective. I spoke briefly about the use of fiber for greater bandwidth, and the only challenge that you have is probably things like brownfield migration. There's some effort that needs to be done. Software-defined LAN, we talked briefly about the policies that you can actually enforce, and it's vendor neutral. There's some challenges because it's very new in the market. Hyperscale, likes of Google, the Azures, you have a very significant energy reduction, largely coming from economies of scale, but again, it's your business and strategy priorities that need to drive home. Yao Ming used LED. The SLEB is a super low energy building from BCA. There's some research being done. There was an autonomous LED that's being deployed that can bring basically no control into your LED. Yao Ming uses motion sensors. So right now, this one actually contributes to a variable degree of lighting based on occupancy. So it can goes up to 20, 40, 80% lighting capacity. This MERV 14 filtration can be further reduced to improve your airflow. But it also looks at how you can use recycled cool air with a possibility of 8 to 10% further energy reduction. All right.
Wow.
So, yep. Okay. So, yep, that's all I have. Thanks,
Yeah.
Tim.
No, I mean that's a great list, because as well, you can see that most of those things can be done to retrofit. Maybe in a situation where you are, needing to replace things in an existing building, or repurpose a building for a new type of use, right? And yeah, ideally you don't have to build a new building. You can use what's standing and just augment it to the purposes that you want, right? And all of those things fit really into that. LED lighting, all these things can be installed to make it more energy efficient and therefore less emissions, which is great. Okay, great. I had one question. Why? We have so many questions. Actually, we have a couple questions. We have some questions for for DB Schenker, which I think are really good, and I will get to those. First, let me first ask the question, why, Jen, why do you use drones to monitor solar panels instead of, let's say, I don't know, something else like remote sensing?
Okay, the drones that we use to monitor actually carries electroluminescence imager. So we fly it in the night. We put some voltage through. So basically, you know, like X-ray of our body. So drones has a couple of technology, right? You can look at the aesthetic, is it dirty or not? So you send a cleaner. But the one that we do at night is like an X-ray of your body, checking your bones and checking your lungs and how it looks like. So we look into the depth of the panel to see if there are any hotspots or any circuit issues. Because once you have micro cracks or issues with the solar panels, you actually lose energy and lose generation. So the drone that we are using is, I mean, of course, we also use to check, pardon me, but bird shit. You know, if you send a worker to look for bird shit, I think that's 122,000 panels, 45 hectares is a lot of work. Yeah, and then and it's not sustainable because you have to use a boat, you have to use a man, and he sweats a lot. So I think that's difficult. But if you use a drone, you can see the dirty spot pretty fast. So that's the very basic level. But the very advanced level is really like an X-ray of the internal body to find out the internal injury. I mean, to put it in layman's term, is the internal injury that can be spotted lah. So for that, we actually fly the drone in the night. You know, it's under X-ray conditions, with a special kind of lighting. So that drone is for that purpose lah. Of course, it can be done by man, but it's very manual. It takes a long time. And by the time you're done, I don't know how much effort and hours that you've spent. Yeah, so it's not sustainable.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow. That's great. There was a question earlier from Vicky Ko, and I think this also addresses some of the questions from Arvind Ram. And this is this is directed towards Yao Ming. Did DB Schenker, you know, I mean, obviously, companies, organizations, especially large organizations, they get into a groove and they get into a structure of kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again. You know, basically the same thing as last year, repeat, right? And what y'all did for like the Red Lion project, I mean, this is very different in terms of, it appears like this is something which is very different and takes effort, like maybe extra effort for an organization, because they have to think outside of their traditional way of doing things. And SK at Sagacity, I think he's working a lot with this kind of mindset. I mean, if he worked with the Army, I can't imagine. But was there any, to your knowledge, I mean, was there any organizational change which is necessary on the management level or at the senior level to move the organization into the direction that they need to actually physically execute something which is going to be sustainable, like sustainable construction project? Was there any organizational change that was necessary in order to make that project a reality, in your opinion, or in your experience?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Yes, I think ultimately it's the mindset change. Mindset change is a critical factor in any change management. So the senior management has to take the lead, walk the talk, to spearhead the project. And if you all notice, sustainability project generally cost money. Okay, but it's for the benefit of long term. Yeah, so in general, the management have to understand that sustainability is a journey, it's not a project. That the investment is for long term, and the ROI it could be long. Just like for Red Lion, the ROI it could be about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and because we need to spend additional cost to build additional functions, features to the building, but in long term, because this is our own land, our own building,
Yeah.
for long term, we'll definitely reap the benefits out of it. So that is why investment is definitely approved for a longer duration. Yeah, because we ultimately will benefit from such an investment. Yeah, it is never a project. It is always a journey. Yeah.
So
that's my takeaway.
yeah, there has to be like so upper management had to be okay with the fact that, look, this is a long-term project. You will get a return. There is no doubt there is a return on investment here. You are like generating how many kilowatts of power a year? It's like phenomenal, right? And you're powering a 4-level building with all sorts of functions going on in that building as well, just from the rooftop. So I mean, and no doubt it's the water system as well, which is really, really key there. So in this case, the senior management, when you were saying that they had to like transform their thinking, in a way they had to be their shareholders and everybody had to be okay with this longer term vision as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And a second question, has that red line type project happened in other countries in Southeast Asia or China?
Yes.
Yeah.
Different countries embark in the green building differently. Yeah, because different countries will have a different national standards towards green building.
Yeah.
And like for example, in Australia, we a significant number of buildings are also adopting solar panels. Yeah, and some are greenfield, some are retrofitting of existing
retrofitting.
buildings. Yes, correct. Globally, many of our sites are started to move towards a green building environment. Yeah, and of course, when you talk about investment, it takes a bit of time, but definitely the direction is towards green building infrastructure. Yeah, that is the top-down direction.
Yeah. Okay, and I'll because in the interest of time, my last question to the speaker is going to go to Sagacity. How easy is it to deploy clean air in clean air in existing or older buildings? That was the question, but maybe you understand more of that question.
Yeah, clean air is always very subjective, but again, it goes back to measurement. Typical measurements are PM 2.5, PM10, PM 0.03, and all the VOCs. Filters doesn't remove all this other than PM 2.5, PM10. So there are technologies out there that you can actually cut a hole, fit it into your aircon systems for industrial buildings or commercial properties, seal it, and we're done. All we need is power, and that's it.
Okay.
So so in short, it's very easy. It's a commitment that whether do you want to change or not, like what Yao Ming has mentioned.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, well, great. It's already at noon, so I think I'll have to thank the speakers right now for their great effort and in putting together these great presentations to educate us all. Maybe I'll just say some about the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. Maybe I will. Let me get my slide out, and I will share my screen. Yeah, it's about time, right? So let me get. All right. Now, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So Yeah, I wanted to, again, thank the speakers today on behalf of CILT Singapore. Thank you for providing your time and efforts. The recordings made today will be kept for CILT members as well as educational partners for research and educational purposes. The Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, let me go to the next slide. Okay, this was an organization which started in Singapore in 1971. Its objectives are to enhance professionalism, promote continuous learning, and facilitate career development for logistics and transportation in Singapore, which is, of course, a global hub. If you'd like to become a member or learn more about educational programs and webinars that we are going to have, then please visit CILT Singapore. We can be visited through LinkedIn or through our Facebook page, or check out the new revamped website, cilt.org.sg. It's phenomenal. It has many different resources in there for people to learn more about logistics, as well as courses, as well as reference to courses. And also it will show from today our next Save the World webinar, which is going to be over fleet management and last mile. That is going to be in 2 weeks' time. My goodness, November 11th. And we're trying to squeak that in before the end of the year. It's going to be November 11th at the same time, 11 a.m. Singapore time. I'm going to be moderating some great people. Hassan Raza from DHL DHL Express. We'll have Sebastian Shen, who's a co-founder of Halio, and Melanie Tan, who's head of logistics product at Swap Mobility. And we'll be talking about the last mile. So after it gets out of the facility, which is going to go green, thanks to all the efforts of the people in our talk today. After your order gets picked in that green facility of the future, then we'll be talking to these people on November 11th about what happens next. Thank you all for your time. Thank you, participants, for showing up today and learning about the future of logistics, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.